Hey everybody, in my last video, my air compressor scared me half to death, and today we're gonna try to fix it. Power is disconnected at the breaker. This should be relatively easy to get fixed, at least to get it back running again. I'm not sure how to solve this problem permanently, but to get it running temporarily again, at least for another couple of months, it should just be a matter of freeing up the little switchy thing here. Like that. I wish I could get to those contacts to clean them. There's definitely a burnt spot on the contact, which implies to me that it's arcing. Both of these have it. This is just some 600 grit sandpaper. I'm gonna see if I can clean these contacts. I don't know why this would be arcing other than just starting and stopping. And I don't think it's starting and stopping too much. Though maybe it is, because it seems to only happen when I'm sandblasting. Part of me wonders if the unit is vibrating more than it should or something, and that's causing intermittent arcing. Or if the spring that opens and closes this isn't springy enough. I should probably just replace this whole assembly here. I'm not seeing any sort of adjustments that I can do to it. I guess I should clean off the far contact too, not just the close one. So here's a better angle for you. My problem is that these little contacts right here get stuck on, which causes the motor to run indefinitely and just keep filling up the compressor until this little safety relief valve goes off and gives me a heart attack. There seems to be some like little burning on this little contact. You're never gonna see it on camera, but it's there. And that implies arcing to me. Arcing normally happens when you have a loose connection or like opening and closing a lot. And it could be either or both. So I wish I could make that contact hit a little bit more firmly, but I'm not sure how. Anyway, this will work until it doesn't work anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the power back on and test it. So breaker on. And compressor on. In my last video, I don't think I ever explained why I was sandblasting. And well, one, it's part of the finishing process on these Carabiners, but two, I was doing some more intensive sandblasting because these have these little onion skins on them that I wasn't getting with my regular end mill. I was just getting those with the feed mill. And I assumed they would pop right out, but they're a little bit thicker than they need to be if you just want to pop them right out. In the future, it won't be hard to remove those with the machine. Like I'll just cut a little bit deeper and they won't be a problem. But for these 12 prototypes I have, I do need to get those off somehow. And I've played with a few different ways. The way I was trying yesterday was just sandblasting them off. Which does work, but it's a little bit slow. I also played with doing them on the belt grinder. There may be some combination of those two is best. I'll just have to play with it a little bit more. That took about half an hour to do these 11 Carabiners that I have left, which definitely isn't too bad, though I don't want to do that in the future. But I can fix that with just some simple G-code changes. The next step is to grind off these little tabs here that are left from the laser cutting, and then throw them back in the sandblasting cabinet and just make sure that I get the sides of this. Because I really only focused on the top and the bottom to get rid of those tabs. I didn't do the sides. Though, just by collateral damage, they are mostly all the way done. It just needs a little bit of touch-up. So I'm gonna put most of these in the tumbler, but I have 5 set aside that I'm gonna go ahead and powder coat. So I wanna do some powder coating tonight, but before I do that, I need to fix my powder coat gun. Now, I had a couple problems with this gun. I really want to like it, but the build quality is kind of crappy. On the bright side, the service at this company is pretty good, and they fixed everything for me. But one of their pneumatic fittings is a 3D printed part. And I'm sorry, powder coating pros, it was the crappiest 3D print I have ever seen, period. And they sent this in a finished product as a pneumatic fitting. It was awful. I believe they used a nylon filament, but they didn't know they needed to dry it. And it was just like a bubbly, stringy disaster with 0 layer adhesion. But when I asked, they gave me the thread standards so that I could just 3D print my own, and I did, and that's what this one is. The only problem is I do not have the tap for this thread here on the other fitting. It's a British straight thread, and like it's just a weird tap. But because this is 3D printed, and I'm gonna say this like I've done it before when I haven't, this part is metal, this part's plastic. I can heat this up just a little bit with my heat gun and then thread this in here. And that should give me a pretty good airtight fit. Now this isn't under a lot of pressure, it's only like 20 PSI, so not a big deal if it doesn't work. I can always just 3D print another one, but I'm gonna test my theory, and I think it'll work. Shouldn't take much heat. That worked super well. I couldn't have asked for that to go better. I'm ready to powder coat. The Carabiners are in the oven right now warming up and gassing out, which just helps you get a more reliable coating. But I already have these that I gassed out earlier, so I'm gonna coat these first. These are pry bars from 33 EDC, which I am reselling. These ones were specifically designated to be test pieces, so I'm gonna do some testing on these. Those coated very evenly, very well, so I'm just gonna go ahead and move on to my Carabiners. This is my first time testing the powder coat gun after I got it fixed, and I think it's working better than it was before. So that's pretty cool. One of each color is at least in the oven, if not done. I have the orange and the purple that are in my hand and cooled off. The blue is out of the oven, but not cool yet. And then I have yellow and green still in the oven. The purple came out great. This is one of the easiest used coatings I have. The orange, for some reason, always takes 2 coats. And I think it's because I use a very aggressive blasting media, and this coating, for whatever reason, just wets out really thin. So I always have to do 2 coats on the orange. I'll have to check to see what the blue and the other colors look like. When you're doing this many small things and this many different colors, basically the process of powder coating is 90% just switching colors. Fortunately, on that gun, it's pretty quick and easy, but I did 5 colors. Each of those needs a switch, and I need to do a second coat of at least 1 color. So I've had to switch colors 6 times to get all of these. And actually, I still have 1 more color that I didn't have a carabiner ready for. So it's a lot of color switching. And with higher quantities, that's not gonna be as much overhead. You know, I'll be able to do 20 or something at the same time, and so I won't need to switch colors nearly as often. Unfortunately, I think the yellow one needs a second coat too. So my first attempt at the second coat on the orange didn't go so well. I think I over-cured it, which makes the second coating not stick. I was doing some reading about multiple coats of powder coat, and apparently you're only supposed to cure the first coat just a little bit. And I'm not sure I realized that. I'm gonna try a process called hot flocking this time, which is basically you heat the part up, not hot enough where it will wet the powder out, just enough that the powder gets sticky. I have the part in the oven right now. I'm gonna give it just like 2 more minutes, then I'll pull it out and coat it hot. I think I was too impatient. I didn't let it get hot enough, so the hot flocking didn't stick. It's all flocked up, or it's not flocked up. I flocked up. But worst case scenario, we strip the coating and try again. I am beat. It's been a long day. It's been a long weekend. It's great seeing friends and family, but I'm the kind of person that needs a break from people. and I have not had that in too long. It is past my bedtime, and I have to drive an hour to go to work tomorrow. So, at least I'm only driving down there 2 days a week now instead of 5 days a week. That's definitely been a blessing to not have to keep making that hour-long drive, and a lot cheaper with gas prices. If you want to buy something I make, you can find it on designtheeverything.com. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Thank you, guys.